All right, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
look at there. Teddy is fucking centered.
Yes, he is.
You move around, Teddy. No, the fuck I don't. I know where the fuck I sit.
Teddy
My
knows.
fucking chair. My chair is sitting right here. My arm is right here, bro. Man, I know where the fuck I be sitting at, moving around.
Dude,
White ass excuse.
look at
Right?
I want to center it, brother. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
This is
look
what they
on
did
the
in the Bronze
website.
Age.
Look at you
Black
like
men.
whipping around on the.
Yeah. What? How hard is it to keep giving me like a square that I can do a little movement, baby? You know what I'm saying?
Teddy's animated. Just let him be.
I mean, really, right?
Anyway.
Just let Teddy. Come on,
Yeah,
brother.
right.
Now,
You can't
come on,
box
man.
Teddy in.
Can't box Teddy in.
No. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight in the Reddit Report, we're going to talk about the Bronze Age.
The best.
No,
age.
it's not that time where we left Mystic at the nude beach without any sunscreen. Because Teddy got us so high that we took some other diabetic home. Once we learned it was a sausage party
Kidnapping
there.
white people. What?
Yeah. Well, as always, well, actually not this week, but a nod to Big Bronze Mystic. Once we realized the diabetic we took home wasn't an opinionated asshole, we pimped him out to the Swans man at the truck stop and went back to save that big booty of Mystic.
I was
That
not,
year,
I was not
he-
part of any of this.
He transitioned to be a Samoan, but just for the woke points. Then we have, next to him, there's Tin Tacker Teddy, who knows everything about the Bronze Age from Assassin's Creed. Why not the Bronze Age this time edition?
Have they done one of those? I don't know. I
Probably
don't
when it takes
even know
place, like
when
an
the
Egyptian one or
Bronze
something.
No, they haven't. No, I think the Egyptian one is the oldest one they've done.
Back when Egypt was fucking big. Get my fucking notes here. And then hosting tonight, as always, is actually running this rickety broadcast. Don't let's forget about Oracle. Running this rickety broadcast vessel of dubious discourse is Oracle. Damn it, I wish Mystic was here for that alliteration to be pissed
Boom.
off. I know. The cybersecurity
Stop
fucking
using
fixed
state
this shit,
letters.
boy. His newest, biggest yet butt plug is named CrowdStrike.
Yeah, that's true.
And hosting
It's like, who the
tonight.
fuck told you, man?
Oh, yeah. All the news, all the memes told me.
Mhm.
That's where it's like, oh, man, poor Oracle. But hosting tonight is your always humble, back-breaking, face-fucking rascal of an Ashtray. Here to show you all, F1 fans out there, that you wouldn't even have that sport without the Bronze Age. And other questionable life advice here at the Reddit Report.
I wouldn't say anything we say is life advice at all.
Yeah, if you're
Oh,
taking it
isn't
as
that one of
life
our-
advice, you're really
Taking
fucking
life
up.
advice.
Isn't that one of our
are
moniker
all
or
sorts
our,
of fucked up, okay?
Things on our website says, click here for terrible advice.
Yeah.
I love
think-
that. It's like a perfect link, as it should be.
I mean, just listen to an Ashtray story and then try to go out and do it. I mean, don't really do it because you'll go to jail for some reason. I don't know why he hasn't, but
Oh, that's just his Ashtray is a fast talker and charismatic. And I have my white boy card. All right. As always, though, before we get into the topic, don't forget about our Pause for the Cause. Dane County Humane Society fundraiser.
I even got a capo. Look at that.
Otherwise, shout out to an orange tabby named Baron von Trumpleton, who was shot in the ear by a deranged liberal who hates outdoor cats. All while he was just trying to give an impassioned speech to the trailer park cats about how Joe Biden wants to serve them fancy Sheba wet food and take away their
And how
mail
that-
mix.
And how that tabby cat claims it's a tabby cat and a black cat and has got to choose a race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's missing an ear.
Yeah.
But, you know, he has every right to say stupid shit.
He
This
does.
is America. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Why are we talking about the Bronze Age? Because Ashtray wasn't sure what the fuck you want to talk about and was stoned and on Curiosity Stream watched a big series about the Bronze Age. So, the Bronze Age is essentially a time. It goes from about 3,300 BC to 1200 BC. Which, do you ever think about the fact that back then they weren't thinking like this is the year BC? Like all that shit was just
Well, yeah, of course they were
labeled
thinking. They
afterwards.
just think it was just fucking.
They're like, we don't know what year it is. Fuck, Jesus ain't here yet.
They knew what fucking year it was. I don't have your mouse, cat. Go find it. My cat is killing a mouse like around my feet right now.
That's the thing is you should put in the cam spot where Mystic would be. Your fucking cat on the hunt.
At least it's not a dog where it brings it to your lap like a fucking, oh, look what I got you.
Well, some cats will.
a dead bleeding fucking animal. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
But my dog.
Well, there's
KK,
mouse murder in the background.
She got the.
We're going to move on to the topic here that the Bronze Age.
I want to tell a story like Ashtray would do it during the Teddy show.
I know you're doing an Ashtray thing. You're good at it.
I'll tell it.
Good at it.
I'm trying to stick that Ashtray shit in there. It's cool. You go.
I don't got Mystic here to rip on me, Teddy, so I need you to keep me check. Bronze Age actually arose in like different periods at different times, like somewhat simultaneously, but like at different times. Around 2000 BC, it started in China. Europe itself was like 3200 BC to 600 BC. And the Near East was like one of the earliest, where it was 3300 BC to 1200 BC. Basically, what they figured out was that bronze, or what you can make bronze from copper. The normal mixture is 90% copper, 10% tin. Well, apparently there's this stuff called native copper, which I'm assuming is just like, here's a fucking chunk of copper that we dug out of the hill. They learned that you can heat that, and that in itself will make bronze, but it makes bronze because it has natural arsenic in it, and motherfuckers are dying. Like think how many ancient people just poison their fucking ass, burning and melting down different.
Right.
Like, what is this ore? Let's figure out what it does. So they figured out that native copper couldn't be burned down, or they had to be careful with it. But they learned that if you take 10% of tin instead of the arsenic, you make the same bronze, and bronze is like way more durable and useful than copper, natural copper was. So they just started, like at the time it was the most durable metal. So they started making all kinds of shit with it. They made spears and weapons, jewelry, ornamental like things for the, rulers and stuff to be buried with. They also made agricultural tools. Think about like you can't make a fucking hoe out of copper; it's just gonna bend. This goddamn copper hoe. And also, the Bronze Age was known for essentially when, like, humans started doing real world trade. And reading into it, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this kind of sounds like we think, oh, we're too interconnected now with global trade, like we saw during the pandemic. Well, they kind of had the same thing in the Bronze Age. They basically started global trade, and also it led to urban cities. And you'll see this fucking shitty ass little, like that map there that Arnold's got up, kind of shows you some of these different trade routes through these different kingdoms, or civilizations, if you want to call. They also, like, at this time, they didn't have real defined boundaries. And some of them, even themselves, were like a region of peoples who had like localized city states. You can see this little hut village. This is like early Bronze Age, where they started, kind of building walls and then deciding like, this is an area we're going to kind of just all live while we're protected.
Is that a moat or what's going on?
Kind
there?
of like a moat. Yeah. But this is kind of the idea of like, these were early Bronze Age villages. The Bronze Age, though, brought about, better tools to make and invent better things, to better agriculture yields. But it then led to even bigger cities, where like in the late Bronze Age, the urban cities were about 12,000 to 17,000 people on average.
Damn.
Egypt's capital, Thebes, was 80,000 people. And so was the capital of Mesopotamia, Uruk. It was about 80,000, so they say. And then the Bronze Age basically ended because there's this weird, mysterious collapse that you may have heard, and of course it's used in these kind of like conspiratory, like what was it? Because there's the ancient writings about the sea people.
So this is Atlantis, or what is this?
This is where people think it's Atlantis, and where archaeologists think more that it was probably just because this was a time where, like at the ends of the late Bronze Age, it's kind of like civilizations got so big that, and also just kind of like a multitude of collapses where with rebellion, they think maybe just rebellions and stuff that took on the pharaohs and, the kings, the people who were like really ruling because they became so urbanized and this class structure that maybe these sea people were just like basically bands of armies of people who, floated away from whatever civilization they burned down and just started raiding these other civilizations. But that's kind of the how they don't really know why the Bronze Age ended, other than the fact that they do know that a lot of these big kingdom, like Egypt, and Turkey, Italy, like these civilizations that had palaces and libraries and scribes, like a lot of them burned around the same era. And interestingly enough, a lot of this information we know about the Bronze Age is because some of those palaces burned down, whether it was like an uprising. There's also theories as earthquakes, because they're like, they were making a lot of olive oil and there was, open flame candles. It's like fucking like goddamn olive oil is gonna burn out, like someone clean up this fucking olive oil. I don't know. Anyways, the thing is,
you can start a fire with a bag of flour, or you got a shit ton of olive oil, it will catch fire and burn.
Teddy knows better than us, so you're right.
That's why the Bronze Age went down.
I'm not saying that's why it went down, but I mean, if you,
I'm teasing Teddy, but I would yield to your advice. The thing is, they don't really know why all these kingdoms kind of just burned the fuck down. The civilizations collapsed. The trade routes then that kept feeding these urbanizations collapsed.
There's no fucking records or anything?
Well, the thing is, there is records, but the thing is, the records they have actually that was the tangent of the point, was that when these palaces burned down, these clay tablets that they were using cuneiform and stuff in to make records of all this trade and stuff, and also like letters from one king to another pharaoh, like they were communicating because they were relying on these other nations for trade, that those fires actually baked those clay tablets, and that's why we know some of this information, because it was like it preserved all this mundane information of the time, interestingly enough. So the thing is, the whole point is that the Bronze Age actually like started forming the real structures of society in like an urban sense, even though it was ancient times, where you had multiple people with specialized jobs. You had large scale farming, manufacturing of tools that would be used for the farming. Organized religions started, government administrations, law and taxation. Because this is all before fucking King Arthur time. Even like I think this is supposed to be one of the earliest forms of law was, and I've heard the name before, Hammurabi's Law Code.
Yeah.
He was the king. It's 1800 BC. He was the king of Babylon, but that was like some of the first or the earliest that we know of establishing like laws about divorce, marriage. And the documentary said occasionally runaway slaves. Like occasionally, motherfuckers probably run away every day. Also debt, laws on that. And this is also the time when writing starts to develop. The Sumerian cities in Mesopotamia started developing their writing, and Egypt around the same time was doing theirs. Then they believe that writing really started. And maybe it's just because like that's the oldest records we have, but it started because we needed to keep track of what we're trading through all these ports. And like so like in Mesopotamia, their writing originally was a logographic form where like each character stood for a word. So like fish looked kind of like, a Jesus fish, and head looked kind of like a little human head. Water was like 3 wavy lines, those kind of things. But once getting over like 1,000 characters, it was getting just kind of untenable to try to remember all that. And then around then, eventually they developed cuneiform, which you've probably seen those tablets where it's like, it almost looks like a little, like long pointy triangle marks.
Yeah.
And cuneiform, which actually, so that's the thing too, which I find interesting, that like we have actually no idea probably what they originally called that writing, unless Latin was already there at the time. But cuneiform is a Latin word for wedge shape. So like, did we as archaeologists just decide we're going to call it cuneiform, like that style of writing at the time? Because no record of it actually says what the language was, other than because that was a lot of, we didn't figure shit out till the Rosetta Stone,
Yeah, isn't everything scientifically labeled with a Latin like word or whatever, or corresponding with it?
Oh, probably in that time, like we're trying to figure out.
I know species. I know species are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure you would do it.
Species, plants, all that jazz.
So this
point
lasted.
being, though, is like that cuneiform. We don't know what they even called this language, this form or any language, this form of writing. But we found it, called it cuneiform.
So when this ended, what time the Bronze Age ended?
Bronze Age ended roughly around 1200 BC.
So is the idea that the next kind of, I guess, civilization in that region that picked up then would have been like the Greeks?
Well, there were early Greeks during this time. Let's see here. There was back on that, like a writing form, is that scribes who actually did this writing were kind of like, they were higher class. It was like a good fucking job.
Well, yeah, because most people couldn't read or write back then. So
exactly, and they were, their job mostly was like probably sitting at the dock and fucking writing down what was coming in and going, or like if you worked for the palace, they said there's in reading, deciphering these cuneiform tablets where it's like you could tell some scribes would make a note to another scribe that they knew, like, this is the scribe who's working for this pharaoh, and like he's gonna read it. It's like, hey Jeff, how's the family, kind of thing, or whatever. It's just like weird little like personal scribe to scribe notes, but they were kind of like upper class, or at least it was a pretty well tiered job. So let's see here. Oh, at the time too, Cyprus was like the leading supplier of copper. But the thing is, you needed tin to make bronze, and that only came from Central Asia and Afghanistan. They think there were sources. They know there were sources in Spain and Britain, but they aren't really sure whether trade routes brought that, to the Mediterranean area where most of the Bronze Age history we talk about. So by 2000 BC, basically the Minoan civilization, they were on the island of Crete, and they are considered Europe's first advanced civilization. So they were like strong for 1,000 years. 1,000 years. Think how young our country is. By 2000 BC, they had monopolized the entire Mediterranean trade. Where essentially, and they also believe they started the purple trade. You know how we think of purple with royalty back then?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had figured out some like sea urchin or something. Was like, oh, we crushed this. That's a pretty purple. And like sold that as a luxury. But then by like 1650, 1500 BC, the Minoans were beginning to decline, and the Mycenaeans came in. They were early Greeks. Those are you were asking about. This is 1450 BC. And, but they still traded with the Hittites, Cypriots, Italy, Sicily, all these terms that like don't really mean much to me, but
well, Italy's a place.
And
so,
so one of the biggest chunks of knowledge that we have about the Bronze Age is this amazing shipwreck. If If you bring that YouTube video up.
Cue that beautiful bean footage.
Cue that beautiful bean footage. This is called. It's just called the Uluburun shipwreck, because that's the region of Turkey off the southwest coast where they found it. This was in 1982. They actually found it, and I believe it's like over a long period of time they carefully like excavated it. But it was about a 50-foot long vessel that could carry 20 tons of cargo. That's a lot for a 50-foot vessel. And they believe, based on what they found, it traveled between 7 different countries or cultures. They didn't consider themselves like real countries at the time. And it's only one of the few Bronze Age shipwrecks that we've ever found. And the goods that were preserved... What's that?
Is the ship made from bronze?
Nope. So it was a bronze... Like, basically, it's a Bronze Age trading ship that we get to see... Like, as that video goes, you can see...
That's fucking crazy. Like, that's actually, like, laid out like that? Damn.
Well, some of the photos make it look like it's pretty shallow waters. Like, you motherfuckers didn't find that till 1982?
Right.
And it's like, Turkey, get yourself some boats, you know? Like,
I mean, really?
The thing is, look at some of that hull that they pulled out of it. So, it had ingots of copper and ingots of glass, ebony from Egypt, elephant tusks, hippopotamus teeth, all kinds of like shit, and even they had tablet records of like some kind of a weird, I don't know, it almost looked like it looks like a weird kind of
what the fuck is that? Yeah, right.
Domino set or something. But that thing is what they use to track their trades.
Holy
like
shit.
The goods going. Look at that. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Almost looks like a weird different sort of abacus sort of or something, you know, like, for lack of a better analogy. But
so do you think actually like all those chambers and shit like in that, is that to stop it from sinking, or those like...
I don't know, that's probably like rotted, the side is rotted off or something. But like just how well preserved that was, that and those ingots of copper and glass, this is a thing is why the Bronze Age led to a Dark Age. Because these different cultures were reliant upon that trade, and because tin only came from certain areas, like your society, if you're running on bronze tools, bronze weapons, you know, forget the bronze jewelry and things for the pharaoh, but like your agricultural tools and your weapons for your soldiers. And then all of a sudden you can't get tin because like the trading routes are starting to collapse.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so like they, you know, like tin especially was like that ship shows that they were basically hauling these big ingots of glass and copper that then other countries would melt down, you know, and make into goods. Just like we do today, you know, get our raw materials from other countries. So Bronze Age is also known for its increase in weapons of warfare. The Sumerians were considered, I guess, the first to use body armor and helmets. And they invented the sickle sword and early designs of chariots. As well as the attack tactic called missile troops, where kind of sounds similar to like where the Romans would go with those spears and the shields, you know, and like kind of all go together and run at the enemy.
How much of a mind fuck would it be for you to be an army going up against another army, and like all you guys got on is like cloth and shit, and then you see an army across the field, like why are they shining?
Bronze shields.
Yeah. Why are they shining? What the fuck is going on here? And then you get closer, and they got like a bronze breastplate on and fucking and the helmet. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
these guys do.
What the Bronze Age
how wealthy
also,
they had to do that. So
yeah, like what the Bronze Age just brought with that was that like you said, like that kind of a scenario where it's like, what the fuck are they wearing? Are they coming in? So they talked about how the Hyksos, I'm probably butchering these names, that no one knows where they really came from, but they believe probably the area of like where Israel is now which also made me think, like, this is why the Pharaoh and the Egyptians fucking hate those Jews, because the Hyksos came into Egypt. They basically had like brand new fucking chariots, bronze plated, and they also had invented compound bows.
Oh shit!
Like bow and arrows, so like they could shoot their arrows twice as fast.
So much farther, yeah.
So they're rolling in on chariots and these fucking compound bows, and they took over Egypt from 1720 BC to 1550 BC.
Wow!
And it wasn't until the Egyptians themselves basically adopted these new compound bows and chariots, and then later, like, that's one thing they find so much is that, they do realize, like, there are certain regions where chariots are depicted, but they probably weren't really useful in warfare. Egypt, they were very useful in warfare.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It also was a status thing for all the pharaohs and the rulers. They would have themselves painted in a chariot.
Yeah.
I'm sure they rolled around in a chariot.
So it was like the Lamborghini of the Bronze Age.
It was the Lamborghini of the Bronze Age. Yeah, it was like the car everybody wanted to be in. But their point being is that it wasn't always as an effective war tool, except for certain regions. But these wars, then led to. But that just goes to show that, like, Egypt was basically under rule by these people from 1720 to 1550. That's a long fucking time.
Right.
It's almost 200 years.
Almost 200 years, yeah, 200 years.
And then, like, even this same era was when the oh my god, is it Mycenaeans? Like, Ashtray's too stoned to read these names. This is when the Battle of Troy, when they attacked the city of Troy with the fucking Trojan horse. So we'll round this out with the actual collapse, like I was talking about earlier. Nobody really knows why, but it was around 1550 because the end of the Bronze Age happened in these different, regions of the world, around 1550 to 1200 BC. So by this time, it's late Bronze Age. Nation states are established. One theory is there was a growing disparity between the elites and basically everyone else in the society they depended upon to be elite. The kind of order, at least this is like in Egypt, would be like the pecking order would be like the pharaohs at the top. Then you've got government officials. Then you have soldiers. Then you have scribes. Then merchants, craftsmen. Then you're down to peasants, who are the ones just like raising the goats and doing the agricultural work. And then you have slaves.
Serfs.
Slaves who occasionally ran away, according to this documentary.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Exactly. That was my point. Like, why'd you have to say occasionally? Like, I understand there's a law about runaway slaves because they're running away all the time. Like,
yeah.
Every now and then, eyes won't free them.
Yeah. Free at last. Free at last. I'm
sorry, moving around too much for Oracle.
The theory, though, is that like that disparity, and there's also there's some evidence that there may have been famine and drought during some of these years. Granted, we're talking about 1550 to 1200 BC. Like, what is that, 250 years? That's a long time that if you have repeated drought. They think climate change may have been an issue. Too many pharaohs driving their Hummers. Earthquakes. There's some evidence for earthquakes as well.
Yeah, that new 6 horsepower chariot model is added to the.
And then the thing, though, that they have actual record of is the sea people. That there are actual like tablets of where they have these communications where it's like, please, we need you to send grain. Like, our people are starving, and then like they'd reply back like, sorry, like, we're battling these fuckers over here and our soldiers are all occupied. Like, we can't send you anything. The global trade was falling apart. And then also the way these urban areas survived was because of that.
So they're battling the sea people?
Well, the sea people, that's the thing, is no one really knows what they are, but they've been referred to, and again, I guess in a couple ancient texts, and this is also why people want to think, oh, it was Atlantis striking back, some shit. The sea people, they just think may have been the fact that, like, because there was all this unrest, and maybe people, like, leaving their kingdom fell to shit, and the army just decided, you know what, boys, like we're gonna get on our ships, like let's go find some place that's got some food.
Yeah.
And just started. So like they do believe it's more likely that it was like invading armies that came via ship. They're not sure who they were, because it's just like, this is also while all these kingdoms started burning down, and all the people who were putting little cuneiform, little bird feet wedges in record of like what's going on, that stopped. Like it, and they also say, at least they have record that from one report, that the sea people attacked in 2 waves about 30 years apart. Whether they're the same people or just people from another nation that were disaffected and like our civilization fell apart, let's go Murad. But when it all fell apart, it went all the way from like Italy in the west, all the way to Iraq and Afghanistan in the east. If you think of that wide area of the globe. And then all the way north is Turkey, and as south is Egypt. So kind of that like Mediterranean era.
Yeah.
And just like everything collapsed there, and it led
China was just doing their thing.
Yeah, right. China was doing their thing. Led to this led to what they consider the first Dark Ages, where like, and they consider this because even though I think when you call the Dark Ages, I think that's really like fall of the Roman Empire to like the Enlightenment period, what people normally think of Dark Ages. But this was a Dark Age in the sense that archaeologists like there weren't the like big social structures to where you would have people writing down facts and even day-to-day shit that we then dig up and decipher and fill in the gaps of what we know. But yeah, even like they were saying I didn't realize that the Battle of Troy was like, I can't remember how many centuries before the Iliad was wrote. You know, like, so yeah, that's like a historical event that carried such a story narrative with it that like it was still passed down. So yeah, that is the roughly the Bronze Age. It goes to show that,
I have a question here.
Yeah.
You said the Bronze Age caused the Dark Age. What did you mean by that?
It basically started what archaeologists will consider the first Dark Age, because there are more than one Dark Age, and a lot of usually what that means, Dark Age, is just like the bigger societal structures falter. The structures that actually, it's like people just weren't writing in that after the Bronze Age collapsed. Like you didn't have scribes, like they lost a lot of these people who knew how to read and write these things. And it because it just took so long.
It was a lack of knowledge. So it was a loss of knowledge that.
Yeah, and that loss of knowledge, because also you're not having, like, if you think about it, like a scribe who's making a record into a clay tablet, like he has to live in a society that, where he gets to eat because there's farmer, just like we do today. Yeah. But there's enough structure to support him sitting all day and, writing down this mundane information, whatever it may be. But he has that knowledge. And then once society goes to shit, scribes, like, they're not going to, maybe they tried for a little bit to hand down that knowledge, but it's like, fuck, when your kids just needs to hunt rabbits to eat, fuck your scribe lessons, your cuneiform lessons, Dad.
I wonder how that knowledge, how that knowledge was passed on. Like, was there just one family that was carrying on the?
Well,
yeah, kind of like a scribe.
The same thing is like
a family.
So we can read cuneiform. I can't remember. I should have wrote them down, but there are some other languages that they referenced in the first episode, where it's like we know and we have a name for this language, but we still cannot decipher it. Like we don't have enough other reference material, and usually like a thing like the Rosetta Stone, where it's like, oh yeah, we wrote this thing in 3 languages, and then that helps you crack the code. There, so there's still some of these ancient languages that just have no idea. So yeah, that's the fucking Bronze Age. Bronze Age. All you F1 fans. I forgot.
What is it with you and your fucking digging on F1? What is going on here? What is you trying to play the game and you?
I was just trying to rile Mystic up, and he's not even here for it.
Well, stop it! God damn.
He's somewhere screaming at a phone.
Yeah, right. Fuck you,
Ashtray.
I haven't talked about F1 in 3 months. All right, we're gonna move along to our sexy section with Oracle and the treadmill.
Yeah. So I got myself a treadmill.
No, a Black Widow infested treadmill.
A Black Widow. Okay, yes, that's part.
Tell the fucking truth.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
that's
right.
Tell the truth.
I've never seen one in life.
When I unpacked this treadmill, there were a bunch of these like crazy looking black spiders. They weren't Black Widows, at least I don't think they were. Yeah, they were pretty spooky looking.
All inside the box.
In the
what
box, yeah. I found a couple of them. But yeah, so I got this treadmill thing, and basically I, stand on the treadmill. It's a decent. It's
a
not
walking treadmill, like not a full like.
It's
exercise.
not like a full exercise one, but I think you could run on it if you wanted to. I haven't turned it up that high. It's decent size.
It's a treadmill. Why can't you run on it?
Well, I think you can.
Well, they make walking ones that are just for standing desks.
Yeah,
so they're not quite as durable.
I mean, this is not something that would be at the gym, but it's still pretty. It's a pretty sturdy construction. And then it's got on the top like this desk area. So kind of where all your controls are, instead of it being slanted or whatever, it's flat. And then I put like some boards on it to kind of extend it a little bit, so I can kind of have screens and stuff, and I got another screen and shit up there. But yeah,
nice. So it does have a full rise front to it.
Yep. And so I'm at that all day, just standing. And then I had some extra like resistance band things that you can do like curls with and shit from a different thing.
Look at you go,
so I attached
Keep
that.
yourself moving.
Yeah, so you can moving, you can just get jacked while you're in meetings and shit. Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, because it's real easy to. I don't know. I get my fucking hands when I'm stuck at a point of having to really be on the computer for an extended period of time.
Yeah,
my hands get cold as fuck. It's almost like you feel like everything slows down. Get that nerd hunch when you start stressing out. Sometimes fucking.
What do you have, anemia of the fingers? What do you mean your fingers get cold? I don't.
Well, it's like when I'm sitting still and I'm just having to do the fucking computer like design work.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm lucky at my job that I also have to print all this shit and stuff. So I get up and like have to lift heavy rolls. I do get to move around. But there are periods where I've got to really hunker down and proof. And I can imagine working remotely like you do, Oracle. You're not moving around unless you make yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, it's great. I don't sit during the day.
It's good.
Yeah. I just fucking stand after I get up. I fucking stand, and the next time I sit down is when I sit down to take a shit or when it's time for supper.
Nice.
And that's about
That's when you get to check the gram. God, did I tell you that story about going over to...
Nope, because
hers is even smaller.
Nope, we're not.
All right, we're moving on, Teddy.
I didn't get to tell my goddamn story. You ain't telling yours.
All right.
Moving on, Teddy.
Teddy's sexiest Benjamin.
So I am into. I love earbuds. I love.
There's one time.
I love dugouts. I love dugouts, and I love card batteries. So I try to find ways to hide them. I found this thing called Benjamin. It's from Smile Labs. It's a cool little. It's the old school battery, right? But it's pretty much. Let me get this shit back together. It's a card battery, but it's also a fucking pen.
It's a pen.
It also writes.
Wow, that's
writes.
Yeah. That's pretty fucking cool.
So it looks like a normal pen. It writes. It fucking you can. It's. I just thought it's I like my little hidden
Benjamin. What a clever name.
So how do you going from pen mode to being able to use it? What do you have to do?
So the pen is just this part right here. It just comes off.
Oh wow!
So you can it's the pen part is for the hiding of it.
So you take the pen part off when you charge it?
No, you don't have to take it. No, keep it like this and charge it. The charger is on this side over here. Take this little flap out and you can charge it.
Oh, officer be like, why does your pen have a flap, sir?
Or why does your pen have a fucking? I do wish that the opening was a little bit more conspicuous.
Yeah, that does kind of look like a fucking mouth port.
You can see the card top, but but most people, I mean, this is also it comes with a hard top and a rubber top, so I can kind of like mess around with it and but it's a fucking.
You can actually just leave
cool,
that top
man.
on. It looks like, right?
Yeah, you can leave it on. It looks like a fucking car battery. Yeah,
Huh.
it does not look like a car battery. It's it's pretty cool. I like it.
Clever.
Awesome. All right. Nothing like inconspicuously getting yourself ripped. Moving on to Ashtray. Actually, I'll try to cram 2 in here because I was like, oh yeah, this thing too. Anyways, first one was fucking. Why didn't I think of that condom hack?
What condom hack?
What are you talking about?
What condom hack?
The condom hack in the sense
hack a
that
condom?
as you get older, why don't I have condoms? Because when Ashtray.
No, I know. I use condoms. I'm like, what? How do you hack a condom? What are you talking about?
Oh, the condom hack in the sense that the older I get, the more like condoms just fucking suck. Can't feel anything.
What condoms do you use?
Well, I try to use like Trojan shear. Like I'm not buying cheap ones.
Try skins. SKY.
Tell me, I have tried skins. Actually, those are nice.
Skins
The
are pretty
black-
nice.
Saran
black-
wrap.
The black saran.
It's saran wrap.
I use a Ziploc freezer bag.
That's
They're
why-
different than the regular
And
ones.
that's when my son was conceived.
Yeah.
How is it leaking?
No. So the other thing, have you guys ever tried a cock ring?
Yeah.
See,
Yes.
I've never tried one, and I guess I
Really?
kind of didn't. Yeah, I know, right? I'm so late to the game.
Okay, did you try the cock ring with a condom?
That was where I was like, why didn't I think of this? I'm sure people do it, but I was like, you know what? Fuck. I also, to make a condom better, you guys put a little bit of lube on the inside.
On the inside, yeah, of
And-
course.
Yeah, exactly. Old pro trick, right? We all do it. But as I'm getting older, and it's like I can't fucking quite climax and whatever, like, oh, I'm fucking dripping sweat and my hips giving out or whatever. It's like you use
Jesus,
a
how
little
old
bit
are
of I know, right? Lose a little bit of a blood flow, and all of a sudden the condom wants to fly off because you put a little bit of lube in there, right?
No,
So,
no,
like,
I
fuck,
don't have that problem. I don't know. You
I
lost
know,
me
Teddy,
there.
because
I
your
don't-
cock's so huge.
it's not huge.
Point being, I was just
Inside,
like,
I don't
I'm not.
fucking-
I'm like, this condom ain't fucking coming off. So I only like recently tried a cock ring because I was like reading about it in some article, and I'm like, I guess I just always thought cock rings were for people who had small dicks and wanted it to look a little bigger. But I guess it's like any
No,
dick could be a little bigger.
It's a great way to squeeze and keep the blood flow inside. So if
Oh,
you
fuck.
lose, so
It's
if
crazy.
you start,
It's awesome.
if your mind wanders and you start to lose for a little bit, it
Exactly,
helps you,
exactly.
It helps you stay there.
That's what I said. Like my mind wanders, and the older I get, the easier it is for it to wander.
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm
mine
like,
does
oh,
too, man.
I'm getting like whatever. If I'm getting worn out, and it's like whatever. She's having a great time, So I put the cock ring on to keep the condom from falling off, and then I'm like, oh well, dumbass. Like, of course now your cock is huger in that condom, and like you can really feel it. And I'm like, fuck, that solves the condom problem. Why didn't I think of that?
There you go.
So that's
Dude,
what's
it's-
sexy.
when your mind starts to wander, start doing workouts, doing sex, like doing like plank workouts and shit.
Oh yeah,
you
right. Or
fucking-
it's like I gotta
you fucking
stop
gotta start
thinking
doing
about
planks.
whatever that
You-
stupid
you
job
fucking-
is I have to deal with tomorrow.
Discipline.
Remember when we used to have to think about grandma and baseball to not nut, and
No,
now it's just
I-
like fuck, I'm tired.
No, I never would have think about grandma doing.
Here's my other one, sexy.
What the fuck is that?
Jesus Christ, he's a cyborg now.
I know, right? It looks like my.
Please
it's my
tell
new
me
Oculus.
you are wearing that while you have the cock ring on.
That would be.
He has to because cock ring is fucking. It's electronic and it only works
Now I
with that on
have
his
to.
head.
No,
And he has to
this
find a
is-
chick that will fuck him wearing all that shit.
So I
That's
was looking.
fucking, and that is why it's so awesome.
This is a stupid. Like I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I actually like I'm impressed for its cost. It was $35. This is at
35.
Walgreens.
Oh no.
I'm looking for. Remember the beanbag heat pads you throw in the microwave and
Yeah.
then put on your muscles or whatever.
Yeah.
They make ones that are also shaped like an eye mask. So like I was having that fucking sinus,
Your eyes hurt?
upper sinus. Well, it's upper sinuses are like your
okay.
eyebrows.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I got you.
So you can probably hear it. This thing, it's not really a massager. It's a compression
Oh no, I can hear it.
like mask. It's got airbags in it that just like squeeze in your head, and it's like when you have that
Oh, I can
sinus
hear
headache.
it.
I'm like, oh, you can put it on high mode too. I'm like, that's actually
Sounds like a
feels
head
pretty
vibrator.
fucking good.
It
so,
feels
like, at
good.
work, I'm
It's
just, like,
like
wearing this.
squeezing your head.
Yeah, it's kind of like if a massage therapist is just like putting pressure on spots, and it helps distract from like the headache.
Ah,
So does it? Okay, so if you put it over your eyes, does it help? Like, does it help push your sinuses?
They say don't put it over your eyes, like it's gonna push your eyeballs in. But like I wear it lower than this, so it's like more over my eyebrows.
Okay, so
yeah,
I thought it was like a sinus thing you can put over, like a mask you put over your face, and
that's what I was looking for. Was the heated
mask? So
the heated mask. That's what I was looking for. They didn't fucking have any of them. But they had this dumbass thing for $35, and I'm like, $35? Actually,
he's like, if I can't buy that, I'll buy this.
It even charges by USB-C.
Yeah, everything does.
You should get it like an Apple sticker and put it on.
This sells cheap shit with the old USB. But yeah,
don't do. If you put on your eyes, if you come to the show with like an eye patch, I ain't gonna clown the fuck out of you, bro.
You're right though. Now next time I'm using the cock ring, I'm gonna have to.
Kind of looks like those helmets. From Star Wars when they're riding like the speeders or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Those are good.
Yeah. All right, moving along to fuck what you think. Oracle Olympic techno.
Yeah. So last night I'm like, oh fuck. You know, it's the Olympics. They only happen every 4 years or whatever. I feel like I should watch the Olympics a little bit.
Every 2 years.
Well, you know, every 2 years or whatever.
You get summer and Olympic, so it's every 2 years.
Right.
Summer, winter. Sorry.
Come on, white boy, get with it.
So I'm like, okay, let's check this shit out. So I get the Peacock thing. It's not that bad. It's like $8 a month or something. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just do this, you know, for this thing. So I'm watching it, and for one, I don't know if they're just making sports up for the Olympics now or what.
They're trying to add shit for the Gen Zers.
Right? They had this like handball thing, which was basically basketball, where you throw the ball like into a hockey goal, but you can dribble like every 3 steps. I don't know.
What's it called?
Handball.
Just handball? Oh, yeah. Handball's an old sport, but I guess I don't know.
But it's an Olympic sport. So anyway, I'm fucking watching this thing, and they're just in the background. It's just like this, like, you know, like not like hardcore techno, but
it's like stadium techno,
like fucking dance music, like 90s fucking. I don't know what the fuck. And then
Chemical Brothers on repeat.
So then it goes to like this trap shooting competition, women's trap shooting. And during that, there's a different form of fucking like Euro trash techno blasting in the background. It's just like, what the fuck? If I'm trying to concentrate as an Olympic athlete, you know, trying to do this shit, I don't need to be listening. And also,
we find they just hired, or they just paid Daft Punk to use their cat.
But it wasn't Daft Punk. It was like shitty, like
AI.
So can I ask you why you had to subscribe to Peacock? Do you not have cable or?
No, I don't.
Oh,
rabbit ears.
I do, but it's a pain in the ass. I gotta.
So I've been watching on my cable, so I've not had to do the Peacock shit, and on cable I can go back and watch any event I want to. You know, but like I'm waiting. The breaking starts on like the 8th and 9th, so I'm waiting for that shit.
I'm only watching it when the stupid news, you know, the Today Show plays while I'm getting ready for work, and normally the Today Show goes for like 3 hours or something. But they now, because of the Olympics and NBC's they've hosted Olympics or broadcast it forever.
Yeah, long ass time.
They maybe they have some fucking clause with the Olympic Committee, but so now it's just 1 hour of the stupid news, and then like the last 10 minutes before I go out the door, I get to see the Olympics, and that's why I realized that the French volleyball team had way better butts than the U.S. team.
Yeah, you know, and if I was in the crowd at the Olympics, you know, and you're going to these different events or whatever, I didn't go there to listen to this shit ass music. I want to fucking watch the event.
Yeah.
Well, I don't, is it playing in live background?
Yeah, it's live. It's live.
Okay, I thought it was playing. I thought it was playing because you're watching on fucking. You're like watching the replay of.
No, it was actually
It's like in the background of the actual stadium itself.
Right. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you even playing that music? Like, whatever. It's the Olympics.
What I wonder with the Olympics, does every country then have their own broadcast of it? Because I would assume.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, I think a lot of them do.
And also, talking about the Olympics, let's have a moment of solidarity for the North Korean teams that lose because they get killed.
Yeah, right. Did they
So,
even
do they
actually join the
compete?
Olympics?
Oh yeah, they compete.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
they compete. They're North Korean.
I think the Russian ones had to compete under we're not really
not
Russia,
really
but we're Russians.
Yeah.
It's just it's so weird.
So that before the last time they had to do that because of the fucking doping shit.
They cheated, yeah. So they competed under the Russian committee for the Olympic the IOC or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's a reach around to be like, yeah, I understand it because
yeah.
The athletic and Olympic community actually feels bad for the Russian athletes.
Oh yeah, sure.
Except when they cheat.
Now, do they have to do that now because of the doping or because of Ukraine?
Probably I think the Ukraine war.
The Ukraine, yeah.
Man, to be a fucking Russian Olympic athlete.
I know,
what
right?
the fuck,
so there's a video I watched about the I think it was during the Brazil Olympics. The North Korean soccer team lost all 3 matches, and they lost their last match to Portugal by 7-0.
Mm.
And they haven't been seen since.
Damn.
And the question is why did he just stay in the country there? Why not just disappear? I'm not going back home. Fuck this. I'm out.
Right. But they probably had fucking, handlers or whatever, hey, you're getting on that fucking plane.
Well, also, I didn't think it's North Korea. It's North Korea. If you disappear, he might kill your whole family because you disappeared. So
that's true.
Like you do.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Teddy, male boxer.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I didn't look at this. You were sent that earlier in the chat. What's the story here?
It's a fucking dude.
Show us the pictures. Pictures of dude.
It's on the fucking.
Got a bulge.
Aman Khalif, a Jillian boxer, beat this Italian chick in 49 seconds. If you scroll down, there's a video you can watch. And the first, the first kind of punch. I thought was this video down here. God damn it! No.
Yeah. Hold on.
Let me look up the video real quick here.
Oh, thanks, AP.
Should we just make a trans league where
I think we should make a trans
women who switch to men fight men who switch to women?
They should do a trans league, and they should do a drug league too, where everybody just gets roided out.
Oh, where you can roid out. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So anyway, the thing was, this little Italian chick, she quit after 49 seconds, because she said she hit so hard. This main chick, she was actually banned from I think it's IBA championships, because she failed her gender test. Her testosterone levels were so high. But if you look at the link I sent, look at the picture of this motherfucker, this nigga right here.
Let's just look at the dude,
no.
One punch and it's fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm done. Don't want to.
Yeah.
And you can tell she got to graze her nose. That there is speculated she got a broken nose.
Damn.
But I mean, it's.
Yeah, she's can't compete.
It's a dude beating up on the chick, and the funny thing about it is, it's.
How many women has he fought so far?
I didn't look at the stats. My thing is, it's illegal for you to be trans in Algeria.
And he's Nigerian?
Algeria.
Oh, Algeria.
Algeria.
He's a
bit too light skin, but that's the country he's representing. It's just fucking.
I'm colorblind.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. What the man? I mean that.
I mean, look, you can tell that's a fucking dude. Look at him. There's a. I wanted to find a picture of the referee. It's him, the referee, and the chick he beat. Mm-hmm. And she's got her head down, but he is still a foot taller, and you can see the definition. And we watched a dude beat up on a chick. It's fucking retarded. If you want to be transgender, that's fine. I think you're fucking retarded, but that's fine. If you want to do sports, you have to have your own league. We don't need women coming. Well, and it's only
It's fine.
it's all men going to women's sports. It's not women coming to men's sports. The women coming to men's sports are so.
You know what, though? There should be more, because statistically, more women are transitioning to male in the trans community.
It should be. I would expect to see kind of like an equal or somewhat.
Yeah.
Not so far behind.
Or are we just not hearing about them because they're not causing a stir? You know, that's the thing too. Is like if they're women transition to males and they're competing with males, even if they're doing good,
right?
They're getting beat.
Like they're not ruffling anyone's competitive feathers.
Right.
Yeah, because
don't get me wrong. If I was a chick who got smacked in the fucking face by someone who used to be a man, I'd take that personal.
Yeah.
And look,
even if it's not right. Even if you actually respect their right.
I fucking finish my goddamn sentence. Shut up.
No.
God damn it. I understand how white and Republican I sound right now. All right? I understand. But if you want to be a guy who goes to compete with women, I mean, you could be trans and keep your dick. You can say you're a woman and keep your goddamn dick. I mean, that makes no goddamn sense to me. I'm old fashioned. I was born in the 80s. I was grandfathered in this shit.
There you go.
That's
all the footnote you need for your opinion.
There's enough of you all that you should get your own goddamn league.
It's going to be one of those things we're going to have to just figure out as a society.
It's not hard to figure out. Stop letting dudes beat up on chicks. It's not.
The thing is, how are you going to figure it out with them not feeling offended by us having to try to balance out the fucking fight?
Fuck, they're offended.
Maybe it's an opt-in only fight, or they have their own league. Who knows?
I would hit a woman, but I would knock the fuck out of a trans woman.
Sorry for all our trans female listeners.
I mean, this person, the boxer, the trans boxer, you know, it's illegal in Algeria. There's this like controversy. Man, like what the hell kind of life is that person leading outside of this? Like, it's just like, you know, do you think they have like some super rich fucking sponsor or something there's a big story behind that, you know?
Oh, like someone sponsoring to go to that fight. I have no idea how fight sponsors work, but
so here's the thing: anyone guilty of a homosexual act is punishable with imprisonment of between 2 months and 2 years and a fine of 500 to 2,000 Algerian dinars.
But
transitioning in a homophobic act.
No, it isn't.
No,
there's a bunch of transitions that happen in Iran because of that reason. They actually have like a really high.
Oh, that's right.
High amount of trans people because homosexuality. You could probably get killed. I don't fucking know.
Or it's like if you're in love with this other man.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. But
I can be their wife if I transition.
Yep.
I can't fucking but I can't see a bunch of Muslim men saying just because you want to transition that means you're not a woman.
Oh, that love story happens all the time, Teddy.
These motherfuckers, they won't let women drive. They don't understand that shit. I understand why they won't let women drive.
There's love in the Middle East.
Become understanding that a man's like, you know what? I'm now a woman. Yeah, go fuck yourselves. God, I sound like a bigot, don't I? God,
I know. Don't worry. I'm just stoking that fire. We'll move along. Ashtray.
We're gonna get labeled as transphobic.
Fucking goddamn FDA. Take away my fish meds. Yeah. So the hack trick that I learned from my coworker was that you could get basic generic moxicillin and cephalexin through the veterinary website and keep some of those.
I know what amoxicillin is. What's the second?
Right. Cephalexin. They're both antibiotics.
Okay, antibiotics.
And they're old, they're old basic generic.
Oh, I know what they are, yeah, but what
the thing is, like, without having to get a prescription, because your sinus infection has to get to a fucking certain level where they're like, yep, you got a sinus infection. It's like, I fucking know I have a sinus infection. Give me the antibiotics. And everybody gets so like, you got to make sure you take that long, full 12 days, and to see it through so it's fully gone. That's also because you had to let the infection get that bad to get that prescription. when in the
Drink while
allergy
you're
season,
on
when I was starting to
antibiotics.
feel like the pain, where it's kind of like, oh, like this could get infected, pop a couple of those amoxicillin tabs, boom, gone. I didn't have to take 12 days of them. Like people think, like you can't take antibiotics unless you take them for the full thing. Yeah, when you got a serious infection, that's true. But it's like an infection that's just about to start, nip it in the bud. I take maybe 3, and like I can immediately feel like it clear up. And anyways, so I go to reorder some more. Can't fucking find them. Find out the FDA is like, because they're basic antibiotics that you just put in your aquarium. Of course, they say not for human use. But as a farm kid, like we took horse pills all the time. So this is totally within my wheelhouse and comfort level. Like it doesn't bother.
I am okay with experimenting on myself. Okay.
And it's basic
I'm fine with it.
amoxicillin and
I grew up
cephalexin.
on it.
Same thing.
And that's what we do around here.
Yep. So
Holy
anyways, yeah, I go to reorder some more, and it's just like, oh, I can't find them on the fucking website. What the hell? And so I was doing some searching, and it's like a lot of these other things were saying, like sold out or pending, or it was be like you have to have a prescription. It's like, what the fuck?
So what do
For my
people do for
fish?
their fish?
I know, right? That's
You're
what
gonna
I
get
gotta
a
find out now.
prescription for your
Man,
goddamn
fuck the
fish?
For your fucking fish. Yeah, now you gotta get a prescription to give them their fucking.
They probably
most
want them on
important-
fucking Ozempic or some shit. They're like, yeah,
Probably.
this grouper's getting too fucking fat.
Too fucking bad.
And they're all like, it's gonna lead to breeding superbugs. It's like, oh god, tell that to the goddamn meat industry. Anyways, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen.
What does the meat industry have to do with breeding superbugs?
Antibiotics.
The antibiotics in
okay.
animals,
In
buddy.
the beef, okay.
Come on,
Okay.
stay with
All right,
us
cool.
here. You
Whatever.
live
I'm
in
with
society.
So what?
That's right.
Okay, so before we close out, what kind of horse pills were you taking as a kid?
They'd be antibiotics. Maybe like we're starting to get an infection or something. Mom would be like, "Yeah, here's some of these horse amoxicillin." It's like same thing. It's like, all right, like it worked.
Well, not the same thing. You got to cut the dose down for one because the weight is fucking drastically.
Well, they
Fucking-
still the capsules or the pills still say how many milligrams of amoxicillin are in that.
I get that.
500
they have to,
milligrams. That's your ticket.
Here you go.
Yeah. So
My
yeah,
son-
you want to treat your own
my son takes
infections.
5 milligrams
Solid advice
fucking-
from
when he was
Ashtray.
fucking younger, because it's I'm guessing amoxicillin is like a weaker antibiotic. It can't cure fucking. That's not what they gave me to cure my gonorrhea. So.
No, I don't think amoxicillin is going to work for gonorrhea. Let's
Right,
just say
so
I'm
it's
taking that for
small-
sinusitis, the standard sinus infection, not for venereal diseases. I would not recommend that to any of our listening audience.
Right, but okay, my bad. Sorry, I'm talking about diseases.
Teddy needs all the Z packs you got. Oh
I
no!
ain't got shit no more, man. That was way back before I got married. And I was in a bad place, and I wouldn't use condoms. And I'm sorry.
And on that note, in all seriousness, go fuck yourself, Craigslist hoes. That's our show tonight. We're going to be here every Thursday around 10 p.m. Central. Make sure to join the conversation at theredeyereport.com or facebook.com/redeyereport. You can also not X us because we don't give a fuck anymore. That's
We banned.
fucks have run out, but you know how many fucks we don't have? We haven't even changed the script. So keep copying and pasting that shit over. Because I'm the Ashtray.
I'm Oracle.
And I'm Teddy.
And I'm Mystic. I fell asleep.
Holy shit.
Man, I wish he was here.
At least he's not
So
chewing
what?
right now. So I mean, it's a.
I hope he's okay.